who am I to make a review of a car? Well, I'm a nobody. I can tell you that. I never done anything like this before, and the likelihood that I'm going to do it again is slim to none. But yet, I want to share my story. I had a Mazda 3 from 2004, a hatchback. When I bought it, it was the best option. But as it turned out, it was nothing more than a butt mover. Meaning it moved my butt from one place to the other and then back again. As the years passed, the car felt a bit old. So it was time I wanted another one. As I looked for a replacement for the Mazda, I found the Fiat 500 to be very interesting. Very interesting, actually. And especially the Abarth version. I consider the Fiat 500 Abarth the poor man's Ferrari. It's a really good car. And then when I looked further into what Fiat had to offer, I found the Fiat 126. That's an interesting one. The 126 Spider, a convertible. And I looked at that one too, and I said, okay, if I didn't live in Guatemala, then that would be very interesting. Pretty cool car, actually. The Fiat 126 Spider is made on the same platform as the Mazda Miata, or Mazda MX-5 as it's called today. And to my understanding, the MX-5 and the Fiat 126 Spider is actually manufactured by Mazda in Japan. That was news to me, but that's pretty cool. I like it, and it's a very nice looking car. I think the 126 Spider looks a lot better than the MX-5. But as I wanted to do some exploring in Guatemala and the rest of Central America, 500 or a 126 Spider, it's not the best of vehicles going off-road, you know. So those two, they didn't make the list. I have some experience from four-wheel drive vehicles or off-road vehicles in the past. In the military, I occasionally used a Volvo C202, it's called. And but that one is, first of all, it's not available here, of course, and second of all, it's very good off-road, has portal axles and whatnot, but driving it as a daily driver, not my cup of tea. Before moving to Guatemala, I had experience from the Suzuki Jimny as well. The first Jimny I had was a company car. The second one I bought because I liked the car so much. I wanted one of my own. And in my own Jimny, I did install a rear diff locker. That diff locker changed the behavior of the car from being a very capable off-roader to become nothing but a mountain goat. It was an amazing experience. Now, as the new Jimny showed up, the fourth generation, that was in 2018, I saw it, I looked at it, and I said, yeah, this is the one I want. But then doubt hit me a little bit. What if this isn't as good as I thought it would be? What if this isn't as good as I hope it would be? What if this isn't what I wanted? So I tried to convince myself not to buy it. And I did that by checking what alternatives to the Jimny is there. Because I would need to buy the Jimny brand new. And I wasn't sure if that was the best of options. So what other vehicles are there? Before I go into that part, I want to tell you the short version of the Jimny story. In 1968, Suzuki bought a company called Hope. Hope made a vehicle called Hope Star. And the Hope Star was a K car. A K car is a very tiny vehicle that is unique for Japan. It is limited in size as well as engine, and it is a city car vehicle. It has tax benefits, and to my understanding, in order to buy a vehicle in Japan or in some locations in Japan, you have to provide proof of ownership of a parking lot. You have to have, in order to buy a car in Japan, you have to have a parking lot. If you don't have that, you won't be able to buy your car. The K car does not require you to have a parking lot because it's so small. So, back to the Hope Star. Suzuki bought the Hope Star. The Hope Star was equipped with, in 1968, the Hope Star was equipped with a two-stroke 330cc engine from Mitsubishi. Hope had tried to sell the concept to Mitsubishi, but Mitsubishi turned it down. So Suzuki bought it. 2 years later, 1970, they released the car to the market as the Suzuki Jimny, now equipped with engine and transmission from Suzuki, of course. That was in 1970. In 1981, Suzuki released the second generation. Oh, by the way, the first generation was called LJ10. LJ was the abbreviation for light Jeep. LJ was the abbreviation for light Jeep. In 1981, Suzuki released the second generation. Now it was called the SJ410, I think. In 1985, Suzuki began exporting the SJ to United States and North America. At some stage, Suzuki outperformed Jeep by 2-1. Meaning for every 2 Jimnys sold, Jeep sold 1 Wrangler. In the years to come, this turned out to be a sad story for everyone involved. Somebody flipped a Jeep over, and then a Consumer Report tried to replicate the accident with but now with Jimny that at the time was called Samurai in North America as well as in Europe. This Consumer Report turned out to be a false narrative, but the damage was already done. The Suzuki numbers plummeted. Suzuki took the Consumer Reports, or the journalists or whatever, to court, and they won. They got $60 million. Suzuki got $60 million in damages. There is a link in the description of this, about this story. Now, in 1991, Suzuki left the US market completely. In 19 98 the third generation Jimny was released, and to my understanding that car was a hit as well. As I said, I had 2 of those in Sweden. I never liked the looks of it, the design of it. In my opinion, it looked like a bar of soap. But that was the design of the time. Not much to say about it. It was a heck of a vehicle off-road. It was fairly good on-road, but nevertheless, I didn't like the design. It looked like a bar of soap. Okay? Now, as I said, I looked into other vehicles, and one of them, of course, was the Land Rover Defender, the old version. But when I saw the prices of it here, a new one, forget about it, I can't afford that. A used one, maybe if I'm pushing it a bit. But then we had the bush mechanic issue. In order to create a vehicle that is good enough for overlanding, you have to have a reliable one. Which means buying a used vehicle, you have to refurbish engine, transmission, as well as the entire electrical system. If that is even possible to do, it would become far too expensive. Yes, I could probably do it myself, but I don't have the garage to do it, I don't have the tools to do it, and I really don't know if I want to do it. I'm kind of fed up with it. No. A Land Rover Defender, I'm sorry, I wouldn't buy it. The new Land Rover Defender, it's about to get the same rumor as the old one. First of all, it's not made for off-roading primarily. It's made for on-road. Second of all, it's getting the rumor of being unreliable as the old one. And third of all, it's a joke. The car is a joke. It's pathetic. And then I looked at Toyota because they have a very good reputation when it comes to off-roaders. What about the old FJ40? That looks pretty cool. That looks nice. Bush mechanic issue again. If you want to get reliability, you have to refurbish engine, transmission, as well as rebuilding the entire electrical system, because Bush Mechanics has made maintenance and repairs on the vehicle. Toyota FJ40, forget about it. The total cost of it would be too much. It wasn't worth the issue. So, another option, Toyota 70 series, the Land Cruiser series. Those are just remarkable. I checked the 76 series. That's a large SUV. Comes in 2-door or 4-door. I don't think Toyota makes them anymore. But then we had the Bush mechanic issue again. So I said, no, I wouldn't do it. Then I looked at the 78 series, the Troop Carrier. Troop Carrier, I think the Troop Carrier was initially made for the Japanese military. As the name suggests, it's made to carry troops. But that car is too much of a bus for me, and I don't think I've seen a Troop Carrier here in Guatemala during my 10 years in the country. So, okay, what's the next one then? Well, that's the 79 series Land Cruiser, and that's a pickup truck. Comes as a single cab or a double cab. It's very popular for overlanding in Australia, and it's a heck of a good vehicle. All these 70 series Land Cruisers are really, really good off-roaders, no doubt about it. But would it be my choice? No. For the same reasons as before, it would not be my choice. It's too expensive to buy new, and it's overpriced as a used vehicle. And on top of that, we have the bush mechanic issue. And it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. So, as I learned all this, why did I go for the Jimny? Because all things considered, the Jimny is the better option. There's no doubt about it. For me, Jimny is the better option. We have a solid front and rear axle. We have a light vehicle with a short wheelbase, and all of that is beneficial when you're going off-road. It's not the best car on road, but it's good enough. The fuel economy is astonishing. It has a 4-cylinder, 1.5 liter, 102 horsepower engine that produces 130 Newton meters of torque. And with the low range gearbox that it is equipped with, the torque increases by 100%. And that's what you need when you go off-road. Torque is what you need when you go off-road. And this car delivers it. There is, though, one vehicle that I would buy in a heartbeat if I had the money. And that is the Ineos Grenadier. But it's too much money. Far too expensive for my economy. Production is going to start in next year, in 2022. There is a link in the description to the Grenadier story. Watch that story. What Sir Jim Ratcliffe has done when it comes to the Grenadier, it is nothing but impressive. It's astounding, if that is the right word, I don't know. So, but back to my Jimny. Yes, this was my best option. I've had it for a couple of months now, and I have no regrets. I've taken it off-road into gravel, I've taken it into some mud, I've driven it up a mountain, I've given it a couple of tries, and it has outperformed every single expectation that I had of it. Why didn't I go for a modern SUV? I think I need to explain that. It says 4-wheel drive, doesn't it? On the trunk, right? Yeah, it says it is. It isn't. They are 4-wheel drive pretenders. They are not made for off-roading, and that I needed a vehicle that was made for off-roading, because I need a vehicle that is prepared for the worst of environment. They are pathetic when it comes to off-roading. They are off-road pretenders. That's what they are. This Jimny is not. This is primarily, this one is made for off-road. Secondary, it's made for on-road driving. A modern SUV is the other way around. Those vehicles are just not good enough. At least not good enough for what I intend to use my car for. So a modern SUV, forget about it. Now how about the American cars, American vehicles? What about the Jeep Wrangler? Yeah, the Rubicon version, that is standard equipped with diff lockers. Yeah, that's an interesting vehicle. It's very capable. It's very good off-roader, no doubt about it, with the diff lockers installed. But then, buying a new one, I get, for the price of one Jeep Rubicon, I get 2.5 Jimnys. Is the Rubicon worth the money? No, it isn't. Because the Jimny does the same thing as the Rubicon does. Buying a used one, you got the bush mechanic issue again. So forget about it. If you want to go overlanding, you need a car that is reliable. And a bush mechanic Rubicon needs to be fixed first, which means that a total price of it will be, as with all the others, far too high. So as I tried to convince myself of not buying the Jimny, I realized that the Jimny ticked all my boxes, every single one of them, which the other cars didn't, for a variety of reasons. So I got this one. If you're like me, you want a good off-roader, this is the car to buy. Yes, it has its drawbacks. Yes, it has a couple of things about it that I don't like. But can I live with that? Yes. And I'm gonna explain that in another video. If you want a good four-wheel drive vehicle, if you want a good off-roader, this is the one to buy. And proof of that is that there is a waiting list in the world for this car. These Suzukis were initially only built in Japan, but the plant in Japan couldn't cope with the demand. So they opened up a second plant in India, owned by Maruti. Maruti is a sister company to Suzuki. The waiting list for this car for me was 3.5 months. I read the other day about a woman who just ordered herself a Suzuki, and that was in August 2021. Delivery of her car is scheduled to February 2023. February 2023. In United Kingdom, the waiting list is about 6 to 8 months, but some have experienced a waiting list, or a waiting period I should say, of up to 24 months. Because Suzuki just cannot produce enough of these vehicles. To my understanding, Suzuki Guatemala has sold more than 3,000 Jimnys since 2018.